Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'm calling this meeting in order at 7 p.m. on February 20th. Can I get a roll call, please?
Here. Here.
Here. Not on. All right, with the Pledge of Allegiance, please rise. Thank you. At this time, Council, we had some changes to the agenda. Do you have a motion for those changes?
I'd like to make a motion that we library
5.2?
5.2 to put 10.1 or 10.2.
10.2.
10.2.
Okay. Is that the only modification this time, Council? Okay. Can I get a second to that motion, please?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nancy, does that suffice or need to change the verbiage? Okay. Moving on to the city manager's report. Dave, you have the floor at 5.1. So for me personally, the 13th works a lot better. I'm gone the 16th. And
I'm reversed too.
well, you're going to have to just do it without me. Yeah. Mhm. I would definitely like to see the pressure regulators on Saturday. It's on my list. Correct.
I think if we could do any follow-up of the projects that we had looked at last time, just to kind of see the status of where they are.
I think the roof on the community center, something we talked about last time that we need to probably take a look at again. How many of you guys have visited the stepping stone site? But it's pretty cool. We could definitely go
Oh, yeah,
tour that. That's a good one to see. anything else to add, Dave, on that one? Okay, perfect. Moving on to public comment. Do you have any public comment, Chief, at this time? Do you have public comment? Okay, first on the list, we have Darla Huxell. And we have Then please make sure you state your name and address for the record, please.
Darla Huxell, 415 Stevens Avenue, Umatilla, Oregon. Proud to say. First of all, I always like to start out by thanking you guys for the time and effort that you put in. Same with staff and city council. Tonight, I want to talk a little bit about the future of Umatilla. As the elected officials here, I just want to emphasize that to always have in the forefront what's best for the community and what's best for our kids. I think if you kind of frame everything that direction, you're not going to go wrong on your decisions. There's three areas that I we're always going to have improvements and future things, but we need to have a conversation about it. And the last thing is budget. And really what I want you to think about are projects, not tomorrow or the next day. I'm talking about projects 5 years, 10 years down the road, and how our future budgeting is going to impact that. I am very grateful that we got in early on a conversation with the hospital district, since we're benefiting from that. And it's projects like that that I think we need to project out there and see what our community needs for future projects. The last one I'm kind of saving for Counselor Thunderbird. Just I'm kind of like you, I like to kind of read through this, and as an educator, I know you get out your red pen. Could you, before you really approve the minutes from February 6th, could you like reread item 10? Because I can't even figure out what the discussion was, but I wasn't here. But that's a train there. So we need to, before you just kind of read it. So you said, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And next we have Susan Kelly.
Taylor, 94 Martin Loop. And I'd like to also comment on. So my comment is, and this kind of came from one of my neighbors she uses a walker, and we're right up there on Riverside. And she always likes to walk all the way down to the viewpoint.
That's the
Well, the traffic has just been getting worse, and people are coming flying around there. And there's just no place to walk, and that's a huge place where it's a huge walking area. And so I was just wondering, is there any plans to maybe put a sidewalk that could go all the way down either side of the road so that people can safely walk? I mean, there's one neighbor up there that's had this fence broken down 2 or 3 times now from cars coming up around the corner. And so my neighbor's not able to go for as long a walk as she would like to, because she doesn't feel it's safe for her to. And also, who owns that piece of property, by the golf course, between the golf course and the street? Say that was the city owns it.
Are you talking about the property to the northwest or northeast of the golf course?
The northwest.
That's owned by the Army Corps of Engineers.
Is that the, oh. No, it's not. It's along the one that's right along the golf course?
Yeah, so immediately north of the golf course, there's a empty parcel east of alignment, northwest of the golf course. That's owned by the Army Corps of Engineers. Our east side is owned by the city.
Are there plans for that at all?
None that we're aware of.
Thank you.
Yes. It's Judy.
Josiah Baring, Umatilla Chamber of Commerce. Oh, my address 457 Stevens Avenue. But of course, Umatilla Chamber of Commerce, that's down by the marina at 100 Klein Avenue. Just a few announcements I wanted to bring, just in case you didn't know about them already. If you didn't know, Ray's Days Donuts, she's extended her hours now, open 7 days a week, 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. now. So since there's ice cream and donuts, she doesn't have to close early because selling out donuts so fast. So, and it's Umpqua Creamery in there for the ice cream. So if you don't want Tillamook, that's the next best thing right there for Oregon ice cream. And also for those of you that like going out and doing singing, Old Nick's has released their Saturday karaoke schedule. And for next month, the next one is March 2nd at 8 p.m. And then of course the Bridge Bistro and Brews, they do their Way Back Wednesday, Paulette and Zach Grooms. So if you like singing karaoke or listening to some great live music, then those are 2 great options. And the other thing is, this year is a leap year. You've got an extra day at the end of February. So the chamber wants to encourage people to use your extra day to do something kind for somebody. Whether it's just writing a note to somebody or getting food for somebody. We've got a lot of great local businesses. You could, Uptown Floral, I know we just had Valentine's Day, but you could still get flowers for somebody, or there's a lot of nice notes or different gifts that Evangeline gives. And we are also, from now until the end of February, taking donations for Stepping Stones Alliance and Domestic Violence Services and a coffee house. And there's local drop-off locations at Umatilla Banner Bank, Old Nick's, and the Umatilla Chamber office. And just one more I wanted to throw in, not Umatilla, but if you didn't know, this weekend is the Farm and City Ag Expo at the Eastern Oregon Trade and Event Center in Hermiston. So February 23rd and 24th. Going to be a lot of different exhibitors up there. And the OSU Extension has classes there again as well. Thank you very much, council staff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You also have Jason, but you have an agenda item designated for you. You want to speak then, or do you want to speak then? Okay. All right, at this time, we have the consent agenda. We only have one item on today at February 6th minutes.
You were talking about item 10.1, the God we trusting. Yeah, I actually had questions about that too. Is that abbreviated for a reason? I mean, I understand what it meant because we're here, but.
It'll get fixed. If you want to defer the minutes, it's perfectly okay.
Yeah, that was, well, look at this, but since it was here, I knew what we were talking about.
You said defer it. Okay, I'd like to make a motion, we defer the approval of the agenda to February 6th until next meeting.
You have a second, please.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Hi.
All opposed? I don't have any further. Item 7. Going on to new business, we have nothing. Is there any other public comment at this? Okay, and then we have review 10.1, so that's the concept communication draft, communications framework agreement and discussion. Dave?
I'll hand the floor to Brendan.
Yeah, so at your meeting in, I think it was January 16th, we brought or gave you a heads up that the city was going to be applying for the Broadband Technical Assistance Program or DTAP program. Part of that was we were looking to bring a new telecommunications service provider to town and had partnered with Concept Communications. And we are now bringing a draft of what that franchise agreement would look like to council for consideration. We will likely bring that back to you unless you have any questions at your next meeting on consent agenda. We also have Jason here tonight to introduce himself and give you a little bit of a quick background on kind of what they do and the places that they've been. We do have his slides up. I apologize for not getting them in the packet again, but those are the identical slides that you saw just about a month ago. Certainly happy to answer any questions if you have any. For me, the only change that I wanted to call your attention to is in section 11. That really has to do with the franchise fee. Currently, the way that is written is the franchise fee would be 5%. All of our other telecommunications franchise agreements are at 7%. So we're actually proposing to amend that up to 7%. So we're being consistent with all telecommunication providers. One of the things that we may look at in the future is what's called a public-private partnership or an agreement where we would be able to select a preferred provider and likely typically what you would see then is we would agree to maybe a little bit lower franchise fee in return for an agreed set upon amount of time in recognition that they would be coming in and making significant capital investments into the community to bring those services in. So there's nothing formal at this point, and I did just want to note that we would recommend moving that franchise fee up to 7% in their franchise agreement, so we're consistent with all the other telecommunication providers in town. With that, I'll turn it over to Jason and kind of let him do his introduction. Certainly, like I said, if you have any questions for me or Jason, we're happy to answer.
Yeah, thank you. Do I need the microphone? Good. All right. Yeah. Good evening, council members, mayor, yourself. Thank you very much, and staff. Thank you. My name is Jason Mocha. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Core Fiber Partners. I've been in the industry in telecom for 31 years. I started in the Air Force at 18 years old, and they told me this is what I was gonna do, and here I am. I have a passion for bringing internet into the smaller communities. The reason I have this passion is because in 2018, I started working for an Eastern company. And we started traveling into smaller communities, and I was seeing the difficulties that these communities were having with internet. I saw the appreciation from the community members. I saw the appreciation from council folks and staff across at least 12 to 15 different small communities on the East Coast. I decided to bring these skills back home because I'm a Washingtonian and have lived in the Northwest since, well, 1993. My wife and I became empty nesters in 2019, and anybody who finds themselves in that position wants to downsize their house and figure out how to upsize their land. How do you do that? You start looking to buy something or build something on the outskirts of where you live. I bought a house that had no internet. I was running a fiber to the home company with my cell phone. So I've lived the rural penalty for 8 months. Now, I am also somebody after 31 years that knows what strings to pull and who to call. And so after 6 months, we did finally get good sufficient internet to our house. And it dawned on me in 2019, I can do this for other communities, entire towns. I'm not targeting, my company is not targeting the 100,000 population, the 500,000 population. We're looking for 1,500 population to 20,000 and capping it there. Because that's really where the meaning and purpose is for building better internet. So I have been working with Brandon and Dave on a proposal for the city of Umatilla to be able to seek grant funding and build out the entire town of Umatilla. Not only do I know it's possible, I've had teams all over the country that have done this type of thing. I drive a little Sprinter van and live out of it, driving all over Washington and Oregon, talking to folks like yourselves, trying to help you all figure out how to take that next step forward in getting that next generation that really does power the economic development in communities such as your own. So I'm thrilled to be here to introduce myself. I trust that everybody's gone through the slides and they've at least seen a little bit of what we want to build here, and I'm here to answer any questions.
This will go through like existing older neighborhoods, so you're not looking at just newer neighborhoods and stuff.
No,
And it's actual fiber.
yes,
Nice.
I can give you a long answer to both.
I like to see that. Where you get fast in and it's actually wired, you know.
Yeah, I don't, right now, currently, we are just finishing a build in a town called Priest River, Idaho. It's a town of probably 1,500 to 2,000. We just finished 3 different, what I call blocks or work zones. In those work zones, there's 898 homes. We're building past every single one of them. We've also worked with the state of Idaho for a capital projects fund grant, and we won $6.3 million about 3 months ago. So we're going to take the building that we're doing in Priest River with our own money, and then we're working with the state with a match, of course, to get more homes, 1,000 homes, in fact, that have nothing today. 1,000 homes like I was back in 2019.
Nancy, can you go back to the map where it has the zones on there? I was just curious, like, are the zones kind of your flow, like we're starting zone 1, like we're just starting zone 1 and then branching out? Like, how does your zone system work? And where can we kind of expect these to start first?
You would get a choice of on where we should start. We can align these in any fashion we want to. So don't think of zone 1 as having some motive behind it. Usually the motive is around distance, materials, and the architecture of the network that you want to build. And so you take a first stab at that. But there isn't any, this area is going to be more lucrative than this area, or this area is disadvantaged. So let's try to start over here and work on the affluence side of the city. That's just not how I.
Would you like me to zoom?
No, you're good.
You can start zone 4 if you want to.
Yes. I assume that most of you all live in these areas, and I would love, maybe not in this session, but afterwards, to hear from anybody. I'm here to help. It's the best way I can say it. When I sit in front of distinguished individuals like yourself, and I give this speech, sometimes it's hard to, there is a, what's the catch? Right? The catch is simple. I'll put my business hat on for a second. This is a very great investment. It's a very great investment. It's just very expensive to build it, and it does take a long time. And it takes a special skill set to be able to get it done efficiently on time, under budget. So really the motive here is, for me, it's the meaning and purpose. It's what drives me, and because of the situation that my own experiences. But it is also a good investment. It's one of those investments that's very patient. It's something that you have to wait years and years to be able to see the return. But it's one I very much.
I have a question. So you said it takes quite a while. Roughly, what kind of time frame does it take, per zone? I know there's different things that can make it go shorter or quicker, but roughly, rough estimate.
Yeah, sure. I can give you as short an answer as I possibly can. Think of it as in the underground section, you can do about 1,000 feet a day. In the aerial parts on the poles and transmission poles through the city, you could probably do, maybe a mile a day. Or not a day, but a week. I said a day, but a week. It's everything leading up to that part is kind of the difficulties. The permitting is something that you always have to situate. The make ready cost, which means making room on all of the poles. Sometimes in the underground construction, you got to do 4 profiles to understand the terrain. It really is the setup. The design and engineering alone of this network would take us about 4 months. And so our goals are to continue pursuing a public-private partnership and then start looking beyond the BTAP, which would essentially low-level design everything you see in color on the screen, which is a massive step forward. It also, you've probably heard the term shovel-ready. Have you heard that? Okay. Shovel-ready that is a term that cities and states and the government believes in a project needs to be at that status to award money. We're already right now with the work we've done. We know the costs. We know how we would build it. We just haven't put the low-level engineering to it, which is a requirement when you hire a contractor and you give them a lot of credits. It needs to be down to so many different layers of exactly how to build it, exactly where to build it. So that does take some time, 3 to 4 months. I believe that we can build all of this, and nobody takes us to the bank, in less than a year.
For all of it? Wow, okay.
It'll be longer to figure out the funding of it. These addresses in our business, you try to find addresses that you can build past at like maybe $1,000 a home. And that helps you with your normal standard price point to figure out how to turn that return in, call it 3 to 4 years. In our particular case here, some of these passings are $6,000 or $7,000 or $8,000 per house. So that's why it probably hasn't been. It's unfortunate, but with this historic time in funding and with the partnership with a city and an ISP provider, you've got all of the ingredients to really attack the funding. I would feel very confident in our ability to see those.
Thank you.
Council, any further questions?
Just one, I know that you mentioned if there are people that live in areas that aren't in those zones, we'd like to know a little bit more. What about as we continue to disclose as a city, the preparation of plans to assist with that, or are you just looking for like established homes?
Oh, no, definitely. In fact, that's why we haven't done the low level design. I told you we're high level we can build right now, but only to where it is that we know there's structure. So when you do the low level design, you plan out 5-10 years and you take into consideration where it is that you feel like there could be more expansion outside of city limits, inside of city limits. We would want to take all of that into consideration so that we had enough fiber to be able to serve the entire new community. And I do expect that for there to be more development, so we would definitely take that into consideration. Where do you live?
So. So 44.
If I could add to that just a little bit though, too, so in our design specifications for all our new housing and stuff that's going in now, developers are required to put in telecommunication conduit for any internet service provider that's under franchise agreement with the city that can come in and install that. So there may be a possibility on some of the new housing going in now, we might be able to get to those sooner than later just because there's a significant portion of the infrastructure, the literal pipe in the ground to be able to install. But as we work together with Core Logic on this, and as we Core Fiber, sorry, I don't know why I got Core Logic.
We have a bunch of names.
That's a group out of Eugene. They do barcodes. It's not the same company. But there are areas in town right now where we know collectively are just having spotty would be a very generous description of the internet that they're experiencing. And so we may, as we work together through it, determine where our priorities would be first. So there's still obviously some work to do there to figure out where those priorities might be.
And that's good that you don't mind. That's good that you already, if those developers are putting in that conduit, that does save everybody money, frankly, and time. If you haven't already considered doing something similar on your construction on your roads and putting conduit on and open trenches along the roads, that would be nice to do as well. And maybe even could be a revenue stream for the city if you wanted to lease that back to companies like me.
Okay, council, any further questions? Awesome, thank you very much for the presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very exciting.
Thank you very much.
Excited about getting
Yeah. Okay.
viable.
Save the best for last, we got 10.2.
Yeah, thanks for pushing me forward. I do want to share a few things. On page 6 of the report, I talk a little bit about us building up our Spanish book collections for patrons of all ages. We're 1 in 10 libraries chosen to get books straight from the Guadalajara Book Fair, which will allow us to get culturally appropriate books for all ages. So we received $2,500 in books. We just received those a few weeks ago. It has been in the process since July, so we're super excited about that. Our goal for the next year is to have 3 programs that will kind of promote those books. We want to work with the school district and then do something with social media as well to kind of put the notice out there that we got new books. So we're really excited about that. On page 4, I kind of talk about a year in review and the growth that we have had in the past year. I didn't put percentages on here, but I did some math for you all. We have grown 140% in foot traffic. We grew 114% in computer usage, 290% in programs provided, and 445% in program attendance. So super huge. I'm super proud of our team. And thank you to you all as well for increasing our programming budget. So we've done some amazing things. One thing that I didn't put on here was our library cards registrations that actually went up by 88% as well. So we've been doing some awesome stuff over at the library. Yeah, super proud of our staff. Other than that, I don't have anything else to add.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you for what
That's
you've done.
achievement right there.
Yeah.
Should be very, very exciting.
I didn't realize you guys had such cool movies and stuff out there.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been there for a while. I need to go down there.
Susie, can I have you highlight our hotspots that we rent out for a moment? As people are having issues with internet in between, we might be a bridge while they're figuring some of that stuff out.
Yeah, we have 7 hotspots that are currently circulating. So they get checked out all the time. That's actually our #1 most checked out item. There's never a time when we actually have them at the library. We don't have a wait list. If it's there and somebody shows up, they can check them out. We also just ordered 10 more, so we're hoping to get those processed soon. It takes quite a bit of time to get our cataloger to do that. But yeah, we'll be having a few out there.
How long do they get to check them out for?
For 1 week.
Nice.
Yeah. And we did have a problem with people checking it out and not bringing them
Yeah.
back.
That's what I was
So we do have a policy with that. If they return it late twice, that we revoke the privileges to check out.
I do have a question. It's at the facility, but it is kind of part of the sports engagements. Minnesota Little League registration started today.
Yes.
Can people come to register up until March, or was it just today?
I believe it was just today, for them to do it in person, but I do believe they have an online application as well.
Okay, perfect. I just need to ask some questions.
Any further questions? Move on to mayor's message. And I want to say, just a quick highlights real quick. So thank you very much to, the Chief Hospital, this former Chief Hospital, for coming tonight and bringing it to the point about policy and progress in the future. And it's really good feedback. And it's really definitely, let's circle back around and talk more about the night about the fall. Stage doing, we just want to make sure that that can happen and make sure that we, all of our community partners and things like that are engaged in this conversation. Thank you very much, Susie, again, for talking about the sidewalk, or Susan, sorry, about the sidewalks, bring them back up. And Josiah, remind us to start making some item that was on the actual agenda at this point. You come back up, we just add that on. I would say, and thank you very much for Jason for keeping and giving us presentation. Internet's always exciting. So especially in this area, every time it rains, it stops. So it's from, wind, yeah, when it stops, rain, it stops, you can't do that. So yeah, with that, thank you very much for staying for the weekend. Susie, that's my great thing. Keep it up. I really appreciate it. That's just incredible. Thank you. For your staff. You're doing a great job.
Will do.
Okay. That's all I have. Moving on down to Councilmember Columbia.
I want to thank, again, you for all your work, the staff. Thank you for all you do for us. Thank you so much. I want to thank, Chief Bridge for making it to a basketball game. That was fun seeing you there. And then Darla was also there too. That was great. But yeah, just appreciate you showing and, thank you for doing that, Darla. Thank you for coming today and still helping us out and making suggestions. We love that you are still involved like this. Thank you for all for coming today. I really don't have much to say. I want to thank you though, David, thank you for offering to give a tour for the city from my teacher. Sure. That's it.
All right, it's short and sweet tonight, there's not a lot going on, but thank you everybody for coming, who doesn't necessarily have to be here, coming, but for the internet, you don't even know. And I think it's amazing, the numbers in the library. I work in the library at the elementary school. And so I don't get down here a whole lot because I have plenty of books there that I can just read, but I love seeing those numbers. That is absolutely amazing, especially in our community when there's not a lot for the kids. I mean, we're building it up now, but it's just amazing. Thank you all, and I loved the library. It was really cool to see this report, knowing what a struggle things were in 2020, and just to see how much it's improved. I love it, because I know how much it's impacted. So thank you. I did have a question for staff. I did see the local government spring conference pop in, and I just wanted clarification. Is there going to be one in the fall, or is this the only one that we?
There's 2.
Yeah, There's three. They do a spring, a summer, and a fall. So fall is, yeah, I believe it's in Bend again. They sort of do Bend and then somewhere else, and then Bend and then somewhere else. For yeah, there'll still be the annual conference in the fall.
Thanks everybody for showing up. I appreciate it. It's cool to get feedback from everybody in town. And, you know, really taking, you know, to heart because, you know, we can't be everywhere at once. So it's good to hear from everybody. Bring stuff to attention. And I want to say, hey, Dave, the apocalypse is over. So thank you and thank you staff and everybody. I know there are people praising up there on the streets, dancing in the streets to their water pressure again. So, I mean, it may not be over on other streets, but you guys are like everyone happens. Yeah, it's great. So thank you very, very much for everybody, especially me. So thank you. And I do have one question. Is there any way we can get a garbage can at Sunset Hill Cemetery?
You're talking like a community dumpster or recycling cans up there?
You know,
oh, you're talking for just use the cemetery? Yeah. No, yeah, that did happen, but normally we take it down during winter months, and then it comes back usually right about now, around the beginning of March or middle of March. What we put in an order about now. We don't have like an exact set date, and then they'll come and deliver it and leave it out there on site and add it to the route for about 6 or 7 months, and then we take it out again. In the wintertime, it becomes an attractive nuisance, and there's not a lot of outdoor use of the area out there, and so it's subject to getting burnt and vandalism and stuff like that. So we take it out. So this year we tried to not take it out, and that's what we got. And so we were reminded again that we need to take it out in the winter months.
It's tempting. See garbage can, first thing you think of is like, man, did I set this on fire? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't say that. You just correct that.
Comments, I see words on the board, everything to add.
Hey, thank you. Sorry, got here late tonight. I've got a procedure in the morning that takes a certain amount of preparation, and that's about all I'm going to say about that. I did miss Chief Huxell's comments. The audio went out for a little bit, and so I would ask for a private conversation that I can get caught up on that. Thank you for that. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Best of luck on tomorrow.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Can I get a second on the motion, please?
I'll second.
We're gonna get on to Ashley.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All of them. All right, nice have it. Thank you very much. We're done this evening. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Hopefully you didn't go over here.